Hi everyone, welcome to Train Forever. I'm Andrew Barr, and today we're breaking down a 3-day workout split routine for beginners. The goal for today's video is to give you a foundation of exercises and concepts to help put you on the path to long-term success. This is a general purpose, build a solid foundation type of program. Whether you want to lose fat or build muscle, this is a great place to start. More specialized training just isn't necessary in the early days of your training career. As your skill improves and you make progress, you can gradually specialize over time. Here's the program. The first thing that you might notice is that it's a 2-day split, not a 3-day split as in the title. And the reason for that is that if you're a beginner, you just don't need 3 different workout days. 2 is plenty. Now, that's not to say that you can't train 3 times per week. In fact, I encourage you to do so. The way this works is you alternate between the workout days over your 3 weekly training sessions. You do days 1-2-1 in the first week, and then 2-1-2 in the following week, and it evens out over that 2-week window. 2 workout days is preferable to 3 because a big part of having success in the gym, regardless of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, is actually getting good at the exercises that you're doing. And dividing those exercises over 2 workout days instead of 3, it gives you more opportunities to practice. You do each of the exercises in your program more frequently. And what happens then is that your skill develops. And as your skill develops, you make more progress as a lifter, and you're able to develop the physical qualities that you're after more readily. Before we get into the exercises and some of the finer details of the program, I want to quickly touch on the warm-up. Now, I'm not going to break down a warm-up here. That'll be a subject for a different video another day, but I do want to cover some important warm-up concepts. First and foremost, you need to warm up. It's not optional. It's essential. Not only is it the best injury prevention strategy there is, it is one of the best performance-enhancing strategies there is. Warm-ups should take you about 10 minutes. It should make you breathe and sweat, really get you ready to train. Things that you might do in a warm-up include foam rolling, stretching, dynamic stretching, activation exercises, light variations of the strength exercises that you're going to be doing. For instance, if you're doing lunges with weights, you could do some body weight lunges in your warm-up, and then you can do some quicker explosive movements, simple things like a jumping jack to really get your blood flowing and to wake up your nervous system. There are a lot of great and different exercises and methods that you can include in your warm-up, but to keep it really simple, you can pick about 10 movements and do about 10 reps of each, run through that one time. That should be about 10 minutes, if not less, and that is all you need. That is plenty. All right, so now you're warm. Let's get into the program, starting with day 1. You'll notice that we have 6 exercises, a mix of upper, lower, and core. This total body approach works great for beginners. One of the reasons is that by avoiding training any one body part too hard in the early days of your training career, you can avoid some of the worst effect of delayed onset muscle soreness, otherwise known as DOMS. Soreness is inevitable when you're starting a new training routine, but there are a lot of things that you can do to minimize it. And there's no advantage or benefit to being sore. It's just unpleasant. So although we can't avoid it, there are smart things that we can do to minimize it, to make that next workout feel a little bit better when the time comes. Next, you'll notice that we are predominantly using 3 sets of 10 for all of our exercises. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube demonizing 3 sets of 10, saying that it's robbing your gains and that sort of thing. 3 sets of 10 really gets a bad rep, and it's deserved to an extent because it is overused, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Doing a heavy-ish set of 10 reps provides a really nice mix of intensity and opportunity to practice. When you're starting out, 3 sets of 10 is great. It might even be perfect. At later times, you're going to want to play with different set and rep schemes. Whether that's 3 sets of 6 or 5 sets of 5 or 1 set of 20. There's a lot of different correct ways to train. But when you're starting out, 3 sets of 10 is a great default. You will also notice that exercises are paired, meaning that they are done together in quick succession, and this is indicated on the program by the exercises having the same letter. What that means is that you do A1 followed by A2 in quick succession, only taking a longer break after completing both exercises before repeating them 2 more times for a total of 3 sets. I use 0 to 30 seconds a lot of the time to denote the amount of rest in between set 1 and set 2 to indicate that, yes, you want to move from one exercise to the next in quick succession. You want to do it deliberately, but you also don't need to rush. And if you need to take a breath or two, that's also okay. Supersets are great for many reasons. One of them is simply that they keep things quite time efficient, and it also increases the conditioning effect of your workout and develops your aerobic qualities too. But if when you're starting out, you're feeling that this whole supersetting thing is just making things too intense and it's not working for you, you can absolutely do one exercise at a time. You could take this exact program and rather than doing the 6 exercises as 3 groups of supersets, you could simply work through one exercise at a time. That is a simple and intelligent modification that you can do to adapt a template style program like this to you if you feel it's appropriate to do so. If you're finding this content useful and informative, go ahead and give me a like and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another training tip. I'll be putting out a new video each week to help you get the most out of your training sessions. Thanks so much. I really appreciate your support. The exercises in this program are very much the fundamentals. If you look at both workout days combined, you'll see that we have a squat, a hinge, a lunge, some pushes and pulls, and some core isolation work. This is the foundation of movements that really every training program should be built upon. Advantages of these movements are that they are fundamental movement skills. They are things that, all else equal, you want your body to be able to do efficiently, pain-free, and with some force. They are also, for the most part, multi-joint exercises, meaning that you are using more than one joint at a time, or in other words, you're using more of your body per unit time. This keeps things time efficient and gives you more bang for your buck when compared to isolation exercises. This does not mean that isolation exercises are bad, far from it. It just means that multi-joint exercises give us more value per unit time. To give you an example, let's take the biceps. So a lot of people, when they first go to the gym, they kind of default to doing bicep curls. It's just one of those exercises that's pretty simple and straightforward and just about everybody knows about. And a bicep curl is not a bad exercise, but it really only trains one joint, the elbows. Now in this program, we have our dumbbell row and our lat pull down. Those movements also target the biceps in addition to training the lats and other muscles in the back. The amount of bicep work that you're going to get from these 2 multi-joint exercises is plenty for a beginner. You will see your biceps develop if you only do multi-joint exercises in the earlier stages of your training career. Now, if bigger, stronger biceps is something that's important to you, yeah, absolutely. At a later point, it will make a lot of sense to add in direct bicep work, like using various barbell and dumbbell curls. But when you're just starting out, you can get everything you need from sticking to multi-joint exercises only. Now, you might be wondering what's going on in this column titled RPE. So that stands for Rating of Perceived Exertion. It is a subjective measure of how hard you are working. And you will notice that most exercises are listed as being done at a RPE of about 6 or 7. Now, your gut reaction might be, that's too low, but it's not. It's a great intensity, particularly for beginners, but really even most advanced lifters do a lot of their work in that 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10 range. There's this very problematic, somewhat prevalent myth perpetuated by aspects of the fitness industry that you need to train 10 out of 10, super hardcore all the time, and it's just not true. And it's also detrimental because you just can't train 10 out of 10 all the time. You really can't do it. You'll burn out or get injured. And if you really start critically evaluating how hard you're working in your workouts, you'll notice that even the ones that are very hard are probably not 10 out of 10, because what a 10 out of 10 really means is that you couldn't work harder than that no matter what. So 6 to 8 out of 10 is kind of the sweet spot. It helps you, it's a sufficient intensity to achieve an adaptation, but it's also something that a typical person can recover from. And it helps you stay on track, hitting your workouts, not skipping them because you're run down or burnt out. And the takeaway here is that consistency beats intensity every time. Split squats are a great exercise, but quite a few people have knee pain or various foot issues that make the split squat problematic. For these folks, the step up is often a great choice to do instead that provides many of the same benefits. So next we have the overhead press. Overhead pressing is awesome, but quite a few people don't have the range of motion in their shoulder needed to do it safely. For these folks, I tend to default to using a landmine press, which is a great piece of equipment that allows you to press the weight forwards and upwards on a diagonal angle rather than straight up and down. This provides many of the same benefits of an overhead press with a little less wear and tear on the shoulder, or at least is more available to a broader segment of the population. Moving on to day 2 with the Romanian deadlift, which we could also describe as a hinge pattern exercise. So this movement, particularly when it's new, can be quite tricky to learn. If you're not able to do a hinge with good spinal position and feel confident in the movement, then I find the best approach is to work through some progressions with a dowel rod, first on your back and then in front of you. And I detail this progression in a lot of detail in my programs, Strength at Home and Strength Training Essentials. If you're struggling with figuring out how to hinge, this program could be a great option for helping you learn how to do that movement safely and effectively. And really, I feel that these programs are probably some of the most comprehensive resources out there in terms of helping a beginner lifter get on the right path with strength training. So if you're interested in a wealth of information and a comprehensive resource plus a 12-week program, I definitely recommend that you check those out. You can find them on my website. Another exercise that people might need to modify is the push-up. Push-ups are great. They're fairly straightforward, but a lot of people have a difficult time doing 10 reps with pristine technique from the floor. The solution here is to elevate the upper body. And there are a lot of different pieces of equipment that we can use to do this. My personal favorite is the Smith machine. The main reason is that it's adjustable. And so by elevating the upper body as in the Smith machine, what we've done is we've reduced the effect of gravity. The body doesn't have to work quite as hard to do the same push-up movement. The reason why I like this approach compared to knee push-ups, there's really nothing wrong with a knee push-up, but it's very difficult to go from knee push-ups to full push-ups or push-ups from your toes. By using the Smith machine, you can select a position that allows you to work at a good intensity in that 10 rep zone and gradually move the barbell downwards across multiple workouts until doing push-ups from the floor is the best option for you. The next thing I want to talk about is the 3 core isolation exercises that we have in this program, and those are the plank, the side plank, and the bird dog. These 3 combine to train the core muscles in the 3 planes of movement that the human body moves in. This is a critical physical quality and movement skill for you to develop early in your training career. We'll recall the primary functions of the core or the abdominal wall are to stabilize and protect the spine and to also help transfer force from the lower body to the upper body. These exercises help lay the foundation to allow you to do those things effectively. Crunches and sit-ups do not. Crunches and sit-ups don't train the core in a way that transfers to anything useful. They don't help you see your abs and are really of limited value. I never use them in beginner programs. If you want to check out the description, I put in some links to video clips for some of the exercises that I didn't cover. I thought it was more important to talk about some of the concepts behind this program rather than doing a detailed breakdown of each movement. So you can find those video clips in the description. And I also have hundreds of other exercise videos that are unlisted that I use for my online coaching clients. And if you're interested in some personalized guidance and a program made just for you, you can learn more about my online coaching on my website, barhealth.com. The last thing that I want to address is this question that I get a lot, and that is, what about cardio? Yeah, sure, you can do some cardio after you do this program, 100%, but I want you to consider the following things. There are a lot of ways to train your aerobic system, particularly if you're not trying to compete in any specific sport. If you just want to have a healthy heart and lungs, a lot of things can do that, including strength training. Not all types of strength training, but this type where you're supersetting and you're moving fairly constantly. Like, that's going to make you breathe and sweat, and it's going to stimulate your aerobic system, and it therefore has a cardiovascular component, and it is developing your cardiovascular system and improving your heart health. Now, that's not to say that the only thing you need to do for heart health and cardiovascular fitness is strength training. I just want to point out that lifting weights does more for your heart than most people realize. In terms of cardio training itself, brisk walking is a fabulous way to develop your aerobic system. Sports can be a great way to do that. Hiking, and then purposeful activities also. I have nothing against spending 30 minutes on an elliptical or anything like that, beyond the fact that most people don't like it and you don't need to do it. If you do like it, go ahead. It totally works. It totally keeps your heart and lungs healthy. It'll make you feel better, improve your mood. There's lots of good reasons to do it. But if you don't like doing that sort of thing, that's completely okay. There are other ways to develop your aerobic fitness. If you have any questions about the program, go ahead and leave a comment. I will answer every one. I hope you thought today's video was useful. If you did, please give me a like. Make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss another training tip. I will be putting out a new video each week to help you get the most out of your training sessions. If you head to the description, you can get my free guide to core strength, and you can check out Strength at Home and Strength Training Essentials, my 2 programs made specifically for beginners, one to be done at home and one to be done at the gym. And you can find more information about my online coaching too. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.